Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk about credit cards for travel and in particular the Canadian experience. So in Canada, it's really important because our major airline is Air Canada to have something to do with Aeroplan, and there's been lots of other videos by other YouTubers about the Aeroplan system. It's kind of got more complicated this year. Maybe I'll do a video of that if people are interested in. But that's really essential to credit cards for travel, that you have something to do with Air Canada. Air Canada actually, in my experience over the last couple of years, has really improved the standard. The food is okay compared to some of the other major airlines in the world, but the service standard is quite high, and especially if you have status, elite status, it's actually very good, and there's lots of awards and lots of benefits for doing that. So that's kind of the basis of my credit cards. I have two Amex cards. Let's go through this in terms of what I have in my wallet. So the major credit card that I have is the Amex Platinum, and the Amex Platinum to me is kind of the basis of high-end travel. It's I know people have said the benefits are not as good, they've been watered down. That's like everything in life. It does kind of go backwards and things are kind of shrinking in terms of the benefits, but it's still a very good card. It is $7.99 for the principal primary card holder, but there's usually some bonus. Right now it's 70,000 membership awards when you spend $10,000 on your card in the first 3 months, and another 30,000 points when you make purchases between months 15 and 17. So that's just to make sure that you don't just grab the card, get the bonus points, and then cancel it. The other thing that you should note with Amex is it's always a one-time membership rewards bonus. So you can't go and take the Amex card this year, then cancel it next year, and then when another bonus comes up, then take that again. So for Amex, at least, that doesn't work. It's per card. So if you Amex Platinum, you get a bonus. You can switch to other Amex cards, but it's a once per lifetime bonus. So that's $7.99 per person for the primary card holder. Sounds a lot, but it's not when you consider there's a $200 annual travel credit, and that's towards any travel that you put on the card. If you use Amex Travel or if you book hotels, that comes off. And also there's a $200 annual dining credit for most upscale restaurants in town. There's a whole list, so it's not hard to get those. So in fact, the card is really only costing you $3.99 per year. There is, you get 2 times your spend on dining and food delivery purchases in Canada and travel, and then you get 1 point for everything else. So that's not as good. I mean, in the past, they used to have much more higher multipliers, but the points that you can use them towards many different airlines. I use it both for British Airways and also for Aeroplan. You get a lot of benefits that in this card, which a lot of other high-end cards give you. $100 towards Nexus cards. Amex lounges, so there are Amex Centurion lounges all around the world. There's not one in Vancouver, but there's lots of them in Hong Kong and London, lots of cities in the United States. You also get a lot of the Premium Plaza and Priority Pass lounges. There's a kind of a system, but essentially if you spend a certain amount of money, like I think it's $20,000 or $30,000, you'll get unlimited. So that's a little bit different in the last couple of years, but still in general, you get a lot of lounge access for this. You also get access to Amex Travel, which gets you discounts on high-end flights. So a lot of times with international flights with JAL or Cathay, they will actually have better pricing, and even with Air Canada, they'll have better pricing than the airlines. Also that they have this fine hotels and resorts, and when you book around them, they are higher upscale hotels, but you get things like breakfast for 2, guaranteed 4 p.m. late checkout. So that is something that I don't see with many other programs. This is kind of unique. That is actually guaranteed. They will give you a room upgrade if available and noon check-in if available. They also give you Hilton Honors Gold status and Marriott Bonvoy Gold Elite status. The Hilton Gold status is important because with Hilton hotels, any hotel with gold, you will at least get some type of breakfast, whether it be a coupon. A lot of times it's a buffet breakfast, or sometimes they'll actually even give you access to the executive lounge in some places. So that's worth something. It's like, for instance, if you're going on a trip for 10 days and you get free breakfast every day, that's worth for 2 people. That's worth quite a bit. And in some of the high luxury hotels in America, that's like a $25 or $30 per person buffet breakfast, which is really exceptional. One of the things that I think Amex is really known for is their insurance coverage, and I can attest to that. I've lost luggage, I've had delayed flights, and I've claimed with them. It is kind of a lengthy process, and maybe I should go through that in another video, but I've always got that claim, and so they have, I think, the best coverage out there. So I'll go through some of it. They have emergency medical insurance up to the age of 65 for $5 million. That's for 15 consecutive days of travel. There's trip cancellation. If there is something that happens on your trip, and you're covered for $2,500 per person to a maximum of $5,000 for all people insured if you're traveling with a spouse, things like that. There's trip interruption coverage also for the same amount if your trip is interrupted or delayed for any reason. The one that I have used before is the flight delay. So if your flight is delayed by 4 hours, then you can receive up to $1,000 combined with the maximum for the baggage delay. Sometimes you're delayed for 4 or 5 or maybe 6 hours and you want a bite to eat. So if you don't have lounge access, or you need something, you can buy it. And I've found that Amex Insurance has been very good about this. The insurer coverage is actually the same for Visa and Amex now, but I find them pretty good about things. They don't question too much as long as it's a legitimate expense. So, I mean, you can. They don't say you have to have a cheap meal, like McDonald's. You can have a decent meal, and that's kind of a nice benefit because you're waiting around. Same thing with baggage delay. If your checked baggage is delayed for more than 6 hours, and that happens quite a bit, you receive up to $1,000, and I think it's US dollars. So that is really good for emergency clothing, and I've used that. Sometimes it's going to be coming in a day or two. It usually takes about 2 days to get back your baggage. So you might have undergarments or shaver, cologne, toothbrush, toothpaste, a little bit of clothing. It's always been really smooth, and maybe I'll do that in another video. Go through that process. Hotel burglary insurance. So this is nice. Is that you're covered for $1,000 for any loss for any personal items in your hotel. I've never had to use that. Same thing with lost or stolen baggage, $1,000. $500,000 travel accident insurance. That's accidental death or dismemberment. And this is an important one: car rental and theft damage insurance. I find this is very useful. It's up to $85,000 of coverage. So when you take a rental car and they always ask you for insurance, you have to waive that. And that's I used to drive a little bit more when I was going to the States a lot more, and that coverage is usually $200, $300 for your trip. You also get Amex front of the line, and it's been better. Maybe again I'll do another video on Amex front of the line. It used to be a lot better, I think, in the program, and their concierge used to be a little bit better. But still it's useful. Sometimes you can get tickets, and they do give you priority to some of the big shows. So that's kind of useful for some people. This is not, I've never used this, but they extend the manufacturer's warranty for 1 additional year if you purchase on your card. And then there's also a protection plan if in case there's accidental physical damage or theft in the first 120 days after you buy something. So that's pretty neat. I fortunately have not been needing to use that, but I can see in potentials, you know, if you buy something very expensive, like a really nice bag or a diamond or some electronics, and somehow you just drop it on the floor, or glassware, you know, a really nice glass vase, and you drop it. That's kind of a nice thing. I've never used that, so I don't know how well that works. The next card I'm going to show you is the Aeroplan, and this is the Amex Reserve. And there's a very similar product with Visa, and that's the Amex, that's the TD Visa Privilege card. And why I have this card is that really is based on Amex, and you'll see some of the very similar things. It might be some duplications, but at least in Canada, I think it's useful to have this card, and I'll show you why. It is $599. You get 3 times your points on any Air Canada, 2 times on any dining and food and delivery, and then 1.25 on everything else. So their multiplier for spending is much higher than the Amex regular card. Their bonus right now, and it changes all the time, 70,000 points when you spend $7,500 on the first 3 months, and then another 40,000 when you spend 2,500 in month number 13. And again, that's just to make sure that you actually use the card and keep it for at least a year. So what's different? They have a lot of the similar coverage to the Amex Platinum. So why do I have this card? A couple of reasons. One, they have unlimited Maple Leaf Lounge access in North America. So as an example, if you don't have elite status with Air Canada, and many flights that you fly out of Canada is Air Canada, even if it's going to the States, it's going to be Air Canada, because you have to fly, let's say, to the East Coast. It's going to go through Toronto. That's going to be Air Canada, and so it's very useful if you only have economy tickets. You might not have lounge access. You might not have elite status. This is very useful. So even if you're in economy, you get lounge access, and that's really useful. I'll talk about that in another video, but lounge access really is a game changer from my perspective. You don't really care if there's a flight delay that much. You get some food. A lot of the lounges are actually quite nice, and you get some drinks. It's makes the flight a lot easier. You spend $25,000 on the card a year, you get a worldwide companion pass. So that means if you spend you pay for a economy class ticket, you'll get a companion ticket for anywhere between $99, I think, if it's in Canada, or $5.99 if it's in outside of North America. So that's really a good benefit too, you know, so that you're saving some money there. And that probably, if you're talking about a international flight, that already gets you back your $599. You get priority airport check-in, and so that's useful. We'll talk about that maybe in another video. When you get priority check-in, you check in like business class people. I think you get either zone 2 or zone 3 for boarding. So, you know, even if you've got the lowest end economy ticket, you'll still get to board like almost like premium economy. You'll get free baggage up to 8 companions on your same ticket. So let's say it's family of 4, you all will get free baggage, one free baggage, and that's like $25, $35 a person. So again, this is very good if you're not traveling business class or if you don't have elite status. The other good thing, if you do have elite, or you want elite status, or you do have it, is that you get 1,000 status qualifying credits, or SQC, for every $5,000 you spend on the card, up to 25,000 points. So in theory, you could actually get 25K status, which has a number of great benefits, without ever traveling or without ever flying on Air Canada. It makes it much easier for you to get status. So for instance, if you want 25K status, the way it works now with Air Canada this year is it's based on spending. So essentially you would have to spend somewhere between, I think, $6,000 on flights in Air Canada to get 25K status. But by having this, let's say if you spent $25,000, you've got 5,000 points, that kind of reduces your amount of spending. And some people, if they use this as their primary card, maybe they spend $100,000 on this card a year, that gets you the 25,000 points. Then you only spend another $1,250 to be able to get 25K status. So it makes it much easier. In addition, you get starting in 2027, you'll get a 10% SQC head start toward your status. And I believe, I'll go through that. I think that's like if you earn 35,000 points in the year, then you'll get 3,500 points towards your next year's status, which is really a great benefit. I think that's worth the $599. The other thing is that with e-upgrades, normally they only last for 12 months. So when you get elite status with Air Canada, you usually get about 20 e-credits. I usually don't use them all up and then I lose them. But with this card, you get an additional 12 months. So you get 24 months to use these e-credits. And so that's a huge benefit. They have very similar insurance, travel insurance compared to the Amex Platinum, although it's a little bit not as much. So with trip cancellation and trip interruption, it's only $1,500 a person. It's not $2,500 per person, and it's a maximum of $3,000. And I think with Amex Platinum, it's a little bit more. Last card I'm going to talk about is the BA Visa Infinity. This is an older card, and I think people don't think it's that useful, but I find it very useful. And again, these are the two airlines that I kind of do a lot with. This is the BA British Airways Visa Infinity card. It's $165 a year. And why I want this is, again, for my international travel. 3 Avios points for every British Airways purchase, 2 for everything like dining and food delivery, and 1 point for everything else. So with the Amex Platinum, you get Amex points, which can be converted to a number of things, including British Airways and Air Canada. With the Amex Aeroplan Reserve, you basically automatically get Aeroplan points, and it just goes into your Aeroplan account. And then with BA Visa, it goes into your Avios account with British Airways. And so kind of, to me, that kind of covers it all. And there's not a lot here, but the key here is that they give you a companion voucher when you spend $30,000 on this card. And that means that you can either take a companion with you or fly solo for 50% discount on the Avios fare for your reward seat. And I've used this quite over the years, and I found it to be a huge benefit, particularly if you're booking business or if you can actually find first class tickets out of Toronto. So you have to take British Airways and you have to start to travel in Canada. But essentially, if you redeem a business class ticket on British Airways, let's say going to London or going to Hong Kong or going to wherever, you will get a free companion ticket with that redemption. Or you can actually, for instance, if that ticket you were going solo and cost you 200,000 Avios points, it would only cost you 100,000 points. I think that's a huge advantage because normally a British Airways ticket from Vancouver to London or Vancouver to abroad, like Vancouver, London, let's say last year I went to Spain, that's like $5,000 to $8,000 a ticket. So that more than pays for the $165 account. So that's the real use of this. It's not, the Amex product beats it for travel insurance, but that's the real use of this card. So those are the 3 major cards that I have in my wallet. There's another really good card, the TD Visa Infinity Privilege card, which has the similar benefits of the Aeroplan Amex Reserve card. It's just, and that's a Visa card if you want a Visa card. But this video has brought up other topics that probably I should cover in future videos if people are interested. So hope this has been useful. Until next time, safe travels.